Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Live. We're glad whoever can make it today is here. And definitely, if you have questions throughout the, live, ask us because we want to answer them. So we're really glad you could join us today. And today we're talking about the shadow self, right? It's something we know very little about, but after today you're going to know a lot more. And it's a part of ourselves that is our unconscious mind, okay? It's the part of our mind that talks to us and causes us in relationships and things and to find bad things in other people that we don't like. I mean,
Is that like the angel and the devil on your shoulder?
That's it. And it's the part of us that creates unwanted situations. We all know, and I absolutely stand by this, and I know Kim does too, that we create our own reality. Everything we think, we create.
Yep.
So when things are going great, we're so happy because like we took the steps, things turned out the way we wanted them. And, we love to take the credit responsibility and go, hey, we created it. This is what I was thinking. But what happens when everything turns into like a calamity? Then we go, oh my God, what went wrong? How did this happen?
Yeah.
Well, as much as we don't want to take responsibility for that, we're also creating all of the negative situations that happen in our lives also.
I think it's interesting. I've been reading a book about this, actually, so kind of funny. Yes, by Brian Tracy, and I think it's change the way you think, change your life, something like that. And a part of what he's been saying is, this will ring true, and probably what you're saying, is that what's going on your outside is happening on your inside.
Exactly.
And somebody said to me about that they wanted to join like a diet program or something, and I was like, you know what? Change how you think about yourself, and then you'll start seeing yourself differently.
Exactly.
And I think that just from what I'm gathering from reading and kind of some of my own experiences too, if you constantly are telling yourself or thinking about yourself about that you're fat or ugly or any of those things, that it's going to start happening on your outside even when you're not.
Because you're going to start seeing yourself the way you see yourself.
Yes.
So here's the thing with the unconscious mind, and like when things go totally wrong, we always want to blame something, someone. We want to put the blame somewhere else. And it's really to be able to negate the fact that we could have possibly created this, because we go like this. You mean I created this? Even when people come in and they're sick and you know that it's like related to an emotional thing, they go, oh, you mean I thought this to have like diabetes or my liver to be congested? Yes, you did. Maybe you didn't say I want diabetes today, but at some level in your life, at some point in time, you feel as though you felt in your body as though you lost your sweetness in life. And the only way the body can come back, just like your reality matches your thoughts, was to make your pancreas not work right, because that's what, takes care of the sugar in your body. But that's like a whole other thing.
Right.
So in order to understand how we create the things we don't want to see, we have to really take a look at them. So let's say there's a person who has traits that you're not so crazy about. And give me a second, because I wrote one down so I wouldn't lose my place. Okay. Someone you can't stand because they always have to be right. You just go, or they have a really bad habit, like they can never just walk over to the trash can and throw something away. They always have to throw it. And I'm picking like stupid things, but I'm picking them out of the air right now. So you have to understand that yes, in your unconscious mind, somewhere there are habits or traits or characteristics similar that reflect this, that really in your deepest place, the place we call the shadow self, you're holding on to information like this. You're holding on to a feeling like this that's being represented. And really, the reason that these unwanted things are being represented in your life is because your own self is reflecting this so that you can have a chance to heal it. Your body wants to heal. Your mind wants to heal. Your soul and your spirit, everything wants to heal. It's the natural flow of what is. And whether you realize it or not, or whether you're open enough to know this, this is what it is. And when you get to a place where you're really ready to heal the big stuff, that's when the biggest trauma happens in your life, because it's been buried so deep for so long. And with all the new consciousness that we are learning and the steps that we are taking to heal, and the consciousness that we all really do have, that we want to heal, we want peace, we want joy, we're all starting to reflect the darker sides of ourselves to bring it to the surface, to be able to heal it. And all right, so blaming it on misfortune, blaming our misfortune on other things, in doing this, it allows us to hold on to self-pity, looking for feelings of, pity from other people and hopelessness. And it lets us stay very, hey Kim, hey Marissa, it helps us to stay in that place. We feel secure there because we think everybody's going to come to our rescue. And it's kind of a time where you gotta really humble yourself and really ask, what are the deep, deep feelings that are inside of me that are creating these now, so that I may heal them and release them. And sometimes you just want to say whether I know what they are or not. And when we first confront that we may have created this situation, our first thing is denial. Like, I wouldn't do this, I didn't want this. I'm going to tell you now, there's no exceptions to the rule that we create our experiences. There's no exception to this rule. And if you think that, it's going to make you remain in the same place you're in and accept it as what is real.
Yeah.
So
and you'll keep revisiting that until you learn the lesson.
Right. And so this shadow side is really our unconscious mind. And it affects our decisions. It affects even our body language. Like, if you start thinking about things that bother you, like look in the mirror and think of some situations that really bother you, or that you really dislike about a person or a situation, you'll actually see your body start to change. You'll see your features start to change. And you'll recognize this, just like when somebody steps up to you and you're talking to them, or you first approach somebody, you feel, even before they're this close, there's something wrong. We never think to ourselves, what's inside of me that I'm creating this person to appear in my life right now? But we certainly start thinking about it after they leave, don't we?
Yeah.
Like, how did I bring that to me?
Yeah, well, it's the same way when you think of somebody good.
Yes.
Somebody that you like,
Yes.
oh, haven't heard from so-and-so in a while. Same thing, even if it's negative, and think like, I don't like that person, or
Right.
you still bring them into
Exactly.
your awareness, whether or not you believe that.
Right, exactly. So this shadow self, this shadow side of our self, is a place that once we can clean that out and release it, we'll have less and less and less of the situations and experiences in our life that we don't really want to have, because we will, at a cellular level where we're releasing this from, consciously been aware of it, consciously released it, and once it's released, yes, it's going to lead and open up for other things to surface, but each time it's going to be lesser of a thing, lesser of a thing. Because remember, in addition to we create our reality, everything that happens to us is a learning experience.
Yeah.
So what are we learning with this? We're learning that we create the good and we create the bad. So when we create the bad, if we can change our perception and looking at this, like, instead have compassion. You know, when we're a child and we have a behavior that's not conforming to the situation, here's what we hear from our parents. Stop that. Don't do that. Now, I don't know about you, but I always asked why. Like, if I can't do this, I want to know why. Everybody else, like, marched like soldiers and did what they were told. I'm like, wait a minute, I want to know why I can't do this. Like, I want an explanation. And this is the answer we got, because I said so. I'm sorry, that was never, like, enough for me. Yes, I got punished, and yes, I had to stay in my room, and yes, all these things happened, but I never stopped wanting to understand why I couldn't do something that I wanted to do. You know, it got easier as I got older. Like, my mother, I would be walking out of the house in the morning, and my mother would be like, you can't wear that. And I'd be like, why can't I wear that? They'd be like, my mom would say, well, because they don't wear that like that, or they don't put that together. And I'm like, who's they? Like, who's they? And where did they come from? And what made them so? No, really, you know what I mean?
The neighbors and the people.
Right, exactly. And when you start to really understand your shadow side and how you're bringing all of these things that you don't want to you, it's very humbling, it's very painful, but it's only painful for that moment. You realize it and let it go, and then you go like this, well, then I'm not going to have to experience that anymore, because now I've realized why I brought that to me. And this is not like so simple. It comes from how we dealt with situations that we didn't foresee, and we got angry and frustrated right away. Do you know what I mean? And we didn't know at that moment how to deal, because it wasn't what we planned or what we expected.
And I really feel like a lot of the reason why we even delve into all this stuff is because really our parents didn't know. They didn't really have the information to tell us how to deal with this stuff.
And those feelings don't go away. They get buried deeper and deeper and deeper, and they turn into anger and bitterness and resentment. And when we have those feelings, we're bringing the situations and the people in our lives that are bitter, they're resentful, and all of a sudden everybody's complaining around you.
Yeah.
One of the young ladies that comes in here said to me today on the post, you always say to me, what are you thinking? Yes, because good or bad, and especially repetitive situations, like you go from this situation to another situation, but it's the same dynamics. You go to another, it's the same patterns, right? Look at the pattern. Look inside of you. Go, can I really be thinking these things or feeling these things? And it's really more important that you're feeling these things. Look at your life. Look at your life. Sit back and look at your life. Unwanted situations are a reflection of things that you don't want, but you've harbored them. And look at the traits in people that you may have that are similar, as hard as it is to look at similar unwanted traits.
When you have those kind of patterns, it's really important when you start doing the work to get rid of that stuff, you have to fill that void of something positive also, because you're going to keep letting it back in.
Exactly, which
people don't know what to do with that.
Well, okay, so here's what you do with it. That was the next thing I was going to jump
mind
to.
readers.
Here, we are. This is great because the energy's moving like this.
Yep.
We're good. We're on the same path here. So instead of looking at the situation and being all blown up about it, turn inwards. Direct the energy inwards, and take your negative feelings towards what's going out here, and look for the similar aspects that may be within you, and that's how it brings you to like almost a place of compassion. And it takes a little bit of work to do this and to remember to do this, but it's so worth it. And it's actually, listen, it's the first step in changing your inner world and then changing your outer world. And that's so important. And meditation is really a huge part of this. Like, take some time later on this afternoon or tonight and really meditate. Think of Think of somebody or something that's a situation in your life that you really don't want. And here's what's going to happen eventually. You're either going to change the way that you view the situation, which is going to help you and help them. You're going to either change the view of the situation, or the situation or the person is going to slowly be removed from your everyday stuff.
Yeah.
They'll start being less frequent until
it's a beautiful
they're
thing,
gone.
actually.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's not like death
It's
or
not
anything
like-
like that.
right,
It's
right,
a death
that's
of a
what I was just gonna
situation.
say.
It's not a
Yeah.
death of a person.
They're still there. I actually say this because I have seen it a lot in my experience in the last few months. And I've been able to, I say, put them at arm's length. Not everybody's entitled to, like, your every minute, we're so accessible with social media and everything else.
Yes.
And it's okay. Like, I've just found that it's okay to recognize that stuff that's happening
Yes.
and just kind of step back a little bit. I don't need to be in that all the time with those people who want to
Exactly.
live that pattern. I can see the pattern so clear, and I can actually also see, like, that's not mine, and, like, really hope that they can see that you're living in a pattern that you've created, and you need to learn how to do that. That's not my job even to teach them unless they ask me, because I have started to recognize it.
Okay, and you know what? I have something else to help you to kind of like find yours. I'll give you a personal experience, and I'm sure many of you can share this. You're in a relationship, and it's a toxic relationship, and this is what I always would say to myself in that position. This person is causing me to be somebody that I am not.
It's bringing out your worst.
Think about that. Or no.
No?
It's not necessary. Well, it can bring out your worst, yes. But I'm saying you're actually
saying that.
not really who this shadow self is. You brought it into your life
Okay.
to see that person, but that person's behavior is causing you to be somebody that you're not. The reflection of that person is giving you, all right, look, here we go. Ready?
Go ahead.
One of my situations was a horrible drug addict, okay? So in that situation, enablers become the person that's picking up the pieces, taking care of this, running around, being a crazy person, making up excuses, covering things up. And one day I just went, oh my God, I am not who I really am. This person's behavior is creating or causing me to be the person I am not. I'm a peaceful person. I don't want all this drama. I can't live with this insanity. I might be crazy, but I don't like insane situations. And I drew that to myself to realize that I'm not that, and to step away from that and be able to see myself and see the situation so differently and back away from it and get out of it.
Yeah.
And save myself and my kids and so that situation that I clearly created, I had to see that I didn't have to be somebody's mother. I didn't have to be somebody's babysitter, things that I thought, and that brings me to one other little aspect of this. I should be, I could be. Like guilt.
Yeah, guilt.
Feeling like you have to do things, I should do this. And then you have to go, why should I do this? And who says that I should do this? Is it coming from me? Or is it coming from something deep that gives me fear or guilt or shame if I don't do it? And then sit back and write your I should list. And then look at it and change it to your could do list. And I think we did this in another show. I could do this if it works for you, whatever.
Yeah.
But even doing something like that might help you with this. Is this behavior a reflection of me? And if it is, then how can I change that? And you'll really start, this will change your life.
Yeah.
This will really change how you're looking at situations. It'll help you to have a compassion for, and have compassion for not only that situation and that person, but for that side of you that you've been ignoring all this time and giving energy to it and bringing these situations into your life.
Yeah.
And forgive it. Have compassion for it. And sometimes when you're meditating on this and you're thinking about this, you can actually feel it in an area of your body, and then in the meditation, use that to release that feeling. Make it like a beautiful white light and watch it as it leaves the body, and you actually can feel it leave. And accepting this is really a part of you consciously releasing that, and it's where all the healing of the shadow self begins.
And I want to say that a lot of these things sound like a lot of different things. I don't know, whatever it's going to sound like to you, but I want you to know that if you do the work, that you'll be in more control of your outcome, of what you're trying, where you're headed, what you're trying to do. You're going to have change anyway. You might as well get rid of the crap that's holding you back from doing what you really want to do. I definitely believe you can do it. And I've had the experience in my own life in this year's time, and I can definitely tell you that this stuff that we tell you works. And when you release all this stuff, how about it? How many days we sat here and cried together about all kinds of crazy stuff that was going on in life? And we're both so calm.
And in the next moment, we were like, all right, so what do we do with this?
Yeah.
Because this is not where we want to be. When you're doing things that you don't want to do, if you're in a situation that you don't want to be, then release that part of you that keeps you connected to it. Your shadow self. It's really, really, I believe, powered by the ego.
And stuff's
it's
still
part
going to
of
come
that
up.
dynamic.
Stuff's still going to come up, and I
Stuff's
definitely
always
had.
gonna come
Yeah,
up.
I definitely had, like, Friday. I could definitely say I had a funk of a Friday. The whole day, I was just like, I just couldn't feel it. I don't know what was the problem, but I recognized that I was in my own funk over it, and I did everything I knew how to get out of it. And even my husband, when he came home later, he was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we went out on the motorcycle. That cleared some of it up. A little bit
really
therapy.
But
I definitely knew that I had to change my focus on what was going on, what kept coming up for me. I had to change the focus of it.
Exactly.
Or I was going to live that all weekend. And I was able
hear
to do it, and so stuff's going to keep coming up. And sometimes this sounds like a lot of work, and I've said to different people, like, no wonder why people stay complacent. But guess what?
Well,
you can change all of that.
If
You don't
start
have to be
doing
complacent,
it,
and it's fun.
You have
It's
to
fun.
start doing it, believing it, and understanding. It's so tiny. It's changing a thought. It's one thing that you have to consciously do. Change a thought.
Yeah.
Change a thought. And go really, really deep. And like we said, it's not easy work because it can be painful. But you know what? Like Ralph the Amicus always used to say, and Lonnie, better out than in for other things also. So, and Ralph, a belated happy birthday if you're watching or you watch the next one, because I love you dearly, and I know I never called you the other day, but I was thinking about you, and I love you, and I know it was your birthday.
And I definitely have to say, looking at the Hurricane Irma for I have a lot of family in Florida.
Hi, Angel.
And I know that there was a lot of prayer that was going to the state of Florida for it to not be catastrophic. And it was coming in as a catastrophic storm. And I want to say that, first of all, I'm grateful that the prayers did work. And most people were spared the
catastrophic.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Catastrophe.
Oh.
Yeah, but I really believe that there was so much goodness and so much prayer and positivity going into that place that it was spared, and I want to
absolutely. And don't forget, in these things, they are everything that's an experience is a lesson.
Yeah.
From a scale of 1 to 10, There are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. You can't align universal energy to meet up with what you see as reality, because reality is what it is, and you can't change it. And God always has the first and last, call.
Yeah.
So, well, we hope you enjoyed today, and we do want to send loving prayers out still to Houston and to Florida, and I'm so grateful,
Caribbean.
in Georgia and the Caribbean and the Keys and everyone that was so affected by this, to send them healing and
really to Mother Earth, like I hope
Mother Earth.
Going to get happy soon,
And
because there's a lot of stuff going on. So
yes, and I would also like to send some really special healing prayers and Reiki out to Karen Fleur, that you all know, who we love very much, that does the cards, who reads the cards here. She broke her foot, and I want to send a lot of love and healing, and I really miss you and love you.
yes.
So everybody, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.